Hi guys, so the Brexit Opportunities Minister, the Right Honourable gentleman from the 19th century, Jacob Rees-Mogg, appeared on the LBC show to talk to Nick Ferrari about the Northern Ireland Protocol. Now, I said before, Mogg, like Nigel Farage, is a slippery individual in the sense that he is not like Johnson just to lie constantly through his teeth, but his fibbing is a bit more sophisticated. He'll mix in some truth in there that requires a more complex response. Have a listen.
Is it time to scrap this protocol, Mr. Rees-Mogg?
Well, the protocol is clearly not working, and the negotiations with the EU, which were provided for within the withdrawal agreement, have not, to my mind, been carried on in good faith. They have not got where they ought to have got to, and therefore there comes a point at which it will not be possible to operate under the current circumstances. Now, whether there can be a last-minute breakthrough or not, I don't know. You need to ask the Foreign Secretary on, but the current functioning of the Northern Ireland Protocol is not working for the people of Northern Ireland or of Great Britain.
Now, he says negotiations here. The negotiations have already taken place. The negotiations were back in 2019 to create the withdrawal agreement which contains the protocol. What's happening at the moment is discussions between Liz Truss and Maroš Šefčovič, the Vice President of the European Commission, to implement the Northern Ireland Protocol. Okay, it's about the implementation. There isn't negotiations taking place. This is something that Brexiteers will try to sell the public. We're negotiating with the European Union. No, there are no negotiations taking place. What they're talking about is, why are you not implementing the protocol? And I've talked about this before. For example, the UK government is required to provide live data to the European Union about goods moving from Great Britain into Northern Ireland. They haven't been doing that. They were supposed to put in permanent infrastructure. They haven't done that. So these discussions are about, why are you not doing the part, why are you not upholding your side of the bargain here? You agreed to something, you signed it, why aren't you doing that? And probably in these discussions, Liz Truss or whoever is responding by saying, well, we need more time, or we're not sure whether we want to do this or not. And this is not a negotiation. These are talks that are part of the framework, yes, that Jacob Rees-Mogg is talking about. But it's not a negotiation of the protocol. That took place, that was signed and done. It's about the implementation of the protocol.
The United Kingdom put the protocol together.
It was part of the negotiation with the EU, but it included in the agreement, and this is a really important point that gets overlooked the whole time, the agreement itself provided for the simplification and updating of the protocol. And that...
Yes, as part of the joint committee. And that has already taken place. We have seen examples of that where there have been flexibilities regarding medicines. So it's easier to access medicine from Great Britain. For people in Northern Ireland, it's easier for them to access medicine from Great Britain. That's built into the protocol. That did not require the suspension of the protocol.
That's the key bit that hasn't happened.
So we designed something knowing that it was faulty.
We wanted to get something implemented quickly.
That's like manufacturing.
Now, unfortunately, Jacob Rees-Mogg was interrupted here by Nick Ferrari, but Jacob Rees-Mogg said we wanted something done quickly. And this is the core problem here, and I've talked about it before. Boris Johnson and David Frost, probably Boris Johnson in particular, wanted an agreement signed as quickly as possible. And they probably said at the time, the EU said to them, look, you need more time if you want to understand this, understand the nuances of the protocol and Northern Ireland in particular. And the response from Boris Johnson and the Tories was, we don't care about that. We'll sort it out after. We just need to sell something to the public. We need to get Brexit done. So the motivation behind having a limited amount of time was political. It was not technical. The EU had probably said to the UK government, look, if you want more time, to understand the protocol, to understand the withdrawal agreement, to understand how this is going to affect businesses in Great Britain and in Northern Ireland, we can extend the period of the negotiations for the withdrawal agreement. And Boris Johnson responded by saying, no, we want it done as soon as possible. We don't care what's inside, we just want it done. And now we're seeing the results of that.
Car, knowing you're going to do a recall. Here's your car, drive it, but we'll have to get it back to the brakes.
Hold on. Mr. Ferrari, you know that's not how it is. That in a negotiation, when you have a strict time limit, there may be issues that you can't agree entirely and you recognise you will need to come back to. And
No. Okay? You don't sign an agreement and then come back after. The EU offered you the possibility of extending the period to negotiate, and you said no. You said, no, we want it done now. We're going to sign whatever is in that. We're going to sell it to the public as an oven-ready deal. You don't sign something and then come back after. Tell me, give me an example of a situation where you can sign something and then change it after. Unilaterally. Not, there hasn't been a requirement to sit down and renegotiate the withdrawal agreement. The EU have said that's not possible anyway. But there hasn't been a renegotiation taking place. This, once again, the problem here is that the Tories are able to sell the public through the media this idea that, yeah, we're still negotiating the withdrawal agreement. We're still negotiating the Northern Ireland Protocol. That's a lie.
There was plenty of time to do it because there was an implementation period after the agreement was signed, and there was suspension of the activation of the protocol to ease it in, which allowed over 2 years for this negotiation to take place, and that was all built in. It just hasn't worked properly, and I think the EU is primarily responsible for that.
Of course, blame the EU. Blame the EU for you not actually understanding the withdrawal agreement and the protocol. You did it quickly because you did it for political reasons. You didn't care about Northern Ireland. And I've said this before, and I continue to say this. The Tories and the Brexiteers do not give a flying you-know-what about Northern Ireland. At the beginning of the Brexit saga, many of us said, Northern Ireland is going to be a problem. And the response from Brexiteers was, that's Project Fear. During the negotiations, during this Brexit saga, we brought it up on a number of occasions, and the response was always the same. Stop trying to stop Brexit. Stop engaging in Project Fear. Stop scaremongering. And now we're at this stage where the Northern Ireland Assembly cannot sit, because one party that campaigned along with the Tories and the Brexiteers for Brexit is refusing to go into government with Sinn Féin, who won a mandate because they want to focus on the cost of living crisis. But they want this, but at the same time they want the protocol implemented. The protocol that Boris Johnson and David Frost signed. It requires trust. And I think there's a very small amount of that around at the moment. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.